he couldn't let his baby go because he was in fear for his life. The officer was all over him, and one of the officers grabbed my 16-year-old granddaughter and slammed her to the ground.
Georgia transparency is going hot. Please make sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This story here is sad. This is a very sad story with what the Newnan Police Department in Georgia has done. We've spoken with the family and we've obtained the video of what had happened out here on September 1st of 2022 on this day. So let's get right into it. Portions of this video might be disturbing and viewer discretion is advised.
My name is Anita Washington. I'm a resident of Coweta County. On September the 1st, there was an incident here at my home. My grandson was attacked by the Newnan Police Department. Him also, his grandson, his daughter, my granddaughter, and my daughter, two of my daughters. They was mishandled by the Newnan Police Department, the Sheriff Department, and also the State Patrol. I'm here on behalf of Shamar Walker because the way he was treated was just, it's unjustified. I begged it, I pleaded with the officers not to do it because I had other grandkids here, other kids on the property. They refused to hear anything I had to say. I had had a head injury prior the week before. I proceeded to tell them that I couldn't handle the type of things that they was doing out, so I asked them to leave. They refused to leave. The officer of Newnan Police Department continued to have a confrontation with Shamar. Upon that, he proceeded that Shamar had a warrant. I asked him for the warrant. Prior to that, a couple of hours before that, we had just left his lawyer office. His lawyer, we went over his case, discussed it. There was no warrants on Shamar at the time. I guess within the 2 hours, a warrant appeared. Backup was called. Shamar was sitting on the porch with his child. The officer asked him to put the baby down. You're going with me. And I'm steady calling Shamar's attorney and asking his attorney to talk to the officer and let him know that there's no warrant. So I continued to ask for the warrant, but by that time, backup had came. Everything had got rowdy. The officers was very aggressive, so they continued to try to remove the baby from Shamar's arm. But at that time, Shamar had went into a mental distress. He had a tight grip on his baby. So with that being said, he couldn't let his baby go because he was in fear for his life. The officers was all over him. So we pleaded with the officers to try to let us get the baby from Shamar. At that time, 2 officers from the Newnan Police Department, and if I'm not mistaken, the Sheriff Department, the task force, I think it was a couple of their units, but they worked together. But anyway, they began snatching on my great-granddaughter's arm, yanking them. I mean, almost breaking them. So I feel like the way that they handled the situation was very unfair. not professional, and I feel like they should be held responsible for it. Once they retained the baby from Shamar, and the mother received the baby, Shamar stood up. They handcuffed him, and as soon as they handcuffed him, they tased him from the back. He fell down, hit his head on the concrete wall, and proceeded to have seizures. They continued on, you know, standing by, watching him lay there and shake, not giving him no type of help, not trying to give him medical attention. I had to call 911 myself. Well, by that time, my daughter had came up. So my daughter was here, and she was trying to rescue her son and dissolve the problem, but they pushed her out the way. They shoved her. She came back again, and once Shamar had the first seizure, they picked him up, put him in a chair. Once he got in the chair, my daughter got his mother got a towel to wash him down. They got him. He came back to, and once he came back to, she, like I say, she was washing his face and everything. So when she get ready to walk off, one of the task force unit choked her. Now you might mean my daughter was 4 months pregnant at the time. So when the officer put his hand on my daughter, my granddaughter, her daughter, ran out to try to see, you know, why you touching mom. So she began to walk back toward the front door with her mother, and one of the officers grabbed my 16-year-old granddaughter and slammed her to the ground, for no reason, you know. And we're hollering, screaming, telling him that this child, this is a minor, you have no business touching her. They didn't give a flip. They did not care. I mean, they was just totally rude. So at that point, my other daughter came to the door, and she was yelling and screaming. Not only they were screaming, the neighbors and people stand by was screaming, "These are children. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Get the ambulance! Get the ambulance!" And it took probably 45 minutes for the ambulance arrived, and that was like 2 ambulances because my daughter had to be seen by an ambulance also. So once my daughter reached out to get my granddaughter, you know, from off the ground, she grabbed her to try to cover her from hitting the ground, and the officer grabbed her and slammed both of them to the ground. So my 16-year-old was arrested. My daughter was arrested for something that they didn't do. They tried to charge my granddaughter with assault on an officer, which was not true. Video showed that it was not true. Shamar was not being combative towards the officers. They was not in fear for their lives. Shamar has had seizures. He's never had seizures. So with this being said, I feel like every officer that was out here should be held accountable for their actions. And I won't settle for nothing less.
Tell me what's going on.
Okay? They're doing to my side. Y'all did this before y'all had work. Y'all did this. Y'all did this before y'all had.
They didn't show him the paperwork, y'all. They ain't got the paperwork. They ain't got the paperwork.
Y'all finna go down.
They can't get it to him. Been asking for it.
I have been going back and forth to the hospital for the last 6 months, having injections in my neck for pain, swelling up in my neck, tension, anxiety. And each time he called me from that jailhouse, which they have rearrested him again, and still mistreating him in there, he's not getting the proper medical help that he needs. So I feel like Coweta County Sheriff Department should be held responsible. The Newnan Police Department should be held responsible. Anybody that was out here on the ground that evening should be held responsible. I'm not taking nothing less. And this will continue on because I'm not stopping right here. Because this is not the first time I've seen this happen. Never thought it would happen at my front door, but I've seen it. I've watched it happen in this neighborhood. It has to stop. Either you work and serve the people, or you don't take the job.
Georgia Transparency obtained the initial incident investigation report from Newnan PD. Looks like there is some stuff in here that just does not make any sense. It says that the officers had a long struggle with the subject, but however the subject was sitting in a chair. After he stood up, they handcuffed him, then they tased him. Nowhere in the report here is it listed that Mr. Shamar was tased, that they used non-lethal force, which is using the taser, nor did they put anything in here about what happened after the fact that they tased this person. This report is all jacked up. Newnan PD, you should be ashamed of yourselves for what y'all did. This is horrible. This is very horrible. And I'm wondering if Herb Cranford, the district attorney, is going to do something about this. Or is he going to let these public employees get through without having any consequences for their actions?
Are you afraid, I guess, for you, for your family? Do you fear the Newnan Police Department won't uphold your rights and violate your rights if they think they can get away with it?
I do.
And are you afraid of the Newnan police officers?
I am.
And to the district attorney, Herb Cranford, what would you say to him right now if he was here, or if you could get a message to him for him to hear your message about what these officers did to Mr. Shamar out here? What would you tell Mr. Cranford?
Mr. Cranford, this is from Anita Washington. You have the power in your hands as a DA to see beyond the doubt what your officers and their team members are doing. You have the power to correct them or to eliminate them. It's not only the people that's involved. These are your people also. We have citizens of Coweta County that has had so many problems against Newnan Police Department and the task force. And I know there are plenty of complaints that's been written up. There are people out here now that are scared to write a complaint against them because of their fear of retaliation. I am here to tell you that this can no longer go on. Me nor my family are going to be afraid to walk around in this community. We pay taxes. I've been here all my life. And I plead with you today to stand for the stand for justice. Please stand for justice. Because this is wrong. I've seen it so many times.
Do you think that Mr. Shamar, do you think he's going to get a fair trial?
No. I don't. I don't.
How has this impacted your family?
My family they're scared to go places now. Are afraid of that they're going to be pulled over.
My handcuffs to bring my arm. You got my handcuffs, bring the handcuffs. I can't bring my arm. My arm. I think my arm broke, Ma. I can't bring my arm, Ma. I can't. Got better on your arm? Ma, I can't breathe. Ma, I can't breathe. Ma, I can't breathe, Ma.
But just don't come and try to manipulate and harass and just downplay us, the colored people. You know, in the color area, it's not even in the color area. You know, it's just wrong the way that you all are handling your job. You know, I don't think you should be policemen. I really don't. But I'm afraid right now, and I tell my kids, like when they go out, my granddaughter, she goes to Urban Air, and one of the officers that was here works out there at Urban Air. So she said, Grandma, when I go to Urban Air, he follows me. He follows me everywhere I go. He look at me too, Grandma, he looking at me too strange. I'm like, well, baby, you just probably don't need to go out there, you know. But it's sad that my grandkids has to live in fear from people who are supposed to protect them.
So I can stand the fuck up. So that's what they doing. They're trying to keep me from going. Cause I was right there. That bitch kept looking at me. Wrong motherfucking way. I don't want that touch. I'm a ball. You know what I was concerned about? I was concerned about that. Back right there. What the fuck is that? The damn helicopter? I need the damn helicopter too.
My main goal is for justice here and for peace, because my life is in a shambles now. My kids' life are in a shambles. They have been impacted by this terribly. You know, I have another granddaughter. She plays basketball. She's a basketball, head to be a pro. Once this happened to her, her demeanor was destroyed. You know, they destroyed a part of her. She's never been in trouble, and for them to take her and handcuff her and take her to jail, it took something away from her. You know, and I don't like that. That's not right. You don't take something away from a child. Y'all did not give her that. That was a gift from God. You know, now if somebody did that to y'all kids, you all would be sitting here saying the same thing, or probably even worse. You know, and I feel like you all need to be held accountable for your actions.
With respect to the medical treatment that Mr. Shamar is saying that he's not receiving adequate care in the Coweta County Jail, if you could address the sheriff, Lynn Wood, right now, what would you tell him about that?
Mr. Lynn Wood, I've called to your jail. I've spoke with your medical nurse several times. Shamar has pushed the button, whatever it is that the keypad, whatever it is that he's supposed to do to see the doctor, to see the nurse. The nurse told him, and I would call her name, but she told him that he need to stop pushing the keypad.
Which nurse was this?
Terry. Her name is Terry.
Okay.
He needs to stop pushing the keypad or whatever. He is supposed to have medical treatment, you know. And with that being said, the type of medication that you all are giving him, if his parents has not given you all permission to give that to him, and if something happens to him out there, you know, this is on your hand, Mr. Linwood. This is on your hand. So be aware of what's going on in your jail. He was attacked by 5 or 6 of your officers last year in your jail. Almost bust his head. There's a part in that jail where you take your officer take people and they beat them. And they keep them here a couple of weeks until they heal up, and then they bring them back out into population. This is something that I know is happening there. I'm asking you to look into your jail, because you will be held accountable for this.